So today I want to give a special thank you to all of our friends out on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, who've been enjoying our videos and our posts. I've been grateful for all the feedback and comments we've been getting. And so today I want to address a question or comment that one of our friends has mentioned. And that was, they asked, how do we deal with people that speak to us in a condescending or talk down to us? The description was, what this individual shared is when they were talking to somebody, they asked a question and that person just kind of snickered or laughed at them, right? And we know what that looks like. And just kind of this kind of rude approach to them, almost that you're inferior, or what are you, stupid, kind of message they send. And their question was, how do we deal with that? And I thought, what a great question, and a hard one to just simply type a response back on a comment to deal with that. So I thought, what a great way to help deal with some of these issues by just let's talk about it. So I thought of kind of two ways that we could approach a person like that. Now, obviously, there's lots of nuances and variables that go into this, whether that person is your supervisor, manager, or boss, right? Or whether it's someone that reports to you, whether it's just a colleague, is it a customer, is it a vendor? All those types of things are obviously going to make a difference and help us have to adjust a little bit of how we deal with this. But let me give you two overall approaches. One is going to be a little bit more gentle, a slower approach that may work, particularly if it's your supervisor, if it's a customer. And the other one's going to be a little bit more direct and forthright, maybe if it's one of your direct reports or something like that. So the first way is, in one of the previous videos, we talked about the question-based approach, and I'm a big fan of that. Let's start to ask some questions and not just make assumptions, right? So when the person snickers or gives you that funny look or kind of gives you the message or the tone that they use that seems like they're condescending or talking down to you, what you may ask is a question that might simply be like this. As they're doing it and they're done, say, you know what, I appreciate you giving me that information or asking that. I guess I'm a little bit confused. I'm not sure. It seems like that there's something frustrating or bothering you. The way you said that, you just kind of gave me that message. And I'm wondering, am I missing something? Is that accurate? And we just start there. So we kind of talk around it a bit, share back what I'm sensing they're doing and communicating without being a direct kind of attack and an aggressive, what was that, right? And kind of see where they go from there. What I find is that sometimes when we ask that question, some people are able to self-manage, and maybe they didn't realize they were even doing it. Maybe they did. But oftentimes folks, when they hear that aspect, they realize, wow, okay, maybe that's what I'm doing. Okay, I get that's not okay. And they can then apologize or maybe fix and say, no, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to do. And it helps them soften and adjust. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Depends on the relationship and the person. But I think if we begin to use that question-based approach and ask a series of questions to better understand where they're coming from, why they're feeling that way. Maybe in their mind, they believe that, geez, I've told you this 15 times and you're still not getting it. And they are getting frustrated and maybe you don't realize that. Or maybe there's some other relational issue. Basically, the first approach is let's ask a series of open-ended questions that says, I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to understand if, one, I'm hearing what you're saying correctly, if I'm sensing how you're saying it correctly, and try to seek to understand first, then to be understood, right? We've talked about that quote from Stephen Covey. The second approach is a bit more direct. And it may come out right up and say, it seems like to me that you're frustrated or angry with the question I ask or what I'm doing by the way you're saying that to me. Am I understanding that right? And it's kind of a yes or no. It's not even an open-ended question, and they get to go yes or no, and then we kind of go from there. And again, depending on the relationship, we might go to a point where I might encourage you to simply say, you know what? It's hurtful when you say that. It's not appropriate and it's unprofessional. I'd appreciate going forward if we could communicate differently so we were more professional on an even playing field and we didn't talk down to each other like that. If you could work on that, it'd be great. And so we could have a much more direct approach. Now, again, it depends on your relationship, how comfortable you are with that. If you remember back to some of the other videos, if you've been tracking along with us, we also talked about conflict. And a lot of us are really uncomfortable with conflict. And so that direct approach may not be really a winner for us, right? That may be a challenge, but it also at times can be very appropriate. So there's a couple of thoughts when we deal with those people that kind of are condescending, they talk down to us, they laugh at us a little bit, they have that snickering kind of, sneering kind of approach, and kind of two different directions to do that. I hope that's helpful. Again, as always, I would encourage you to make comments, ask questions. If this led to other questions, share those with us as you see these videos. Again, thanks and have a great day.